Joe Greene here. Studio B, our Studio B sessions are made possible by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, and I'm happy to welcome two guys really that are no stranger to this campus, Tim Stafford and Thomm Jutz. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How you doing, Joe?
Doing great, doing great. I got your album Wall Dogs here. I think that's going to be our focus today, right?
I think so, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
And I'm guessing you guys are ready to start off with a song.
Might as well do that one.
Let's do that one.
Do that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
Wall
Wall
Dogs,
Dogs.
yeah.
2, 3, 4. Wall dogs, that's what they called them. Great Depression on the land, standing high up on a scaffold, a paintbrush in a skillful hand, 30 feet up on red brick, tobacco signs and such. Better love the work you're doing. FDR don't pay too much. Lead paint in the heat of summer, barns and buildings on display. Paint the country as you see it. God bless the WPA. Wall dogs, that's what they called them. Great Depression on the land, standing high up on a scaffold, paintbrush in a skillful hand. Faded now like ghosts forgotten, lingering on downtown walls. Great artists where you find it, easel frame or holy hall. Wall dogs, that's what they call them. Great Depression on the land, standing high up on a scaffold, a paintbrush in a skillful hand, a paintbrush in a skillful hand.
It's WNCW Live in Studio B with Thomm Jutz and Tim Stafford. Makes sense that you guys would start with the title song from the album. And, you know, when I first saw, I think before I heard any of the album, I saw the title, and it struck my memory vaguely. I sort of remembered what that meant, and then you guys illustrated so well in that song. A time, sadly, that's kind of gone by.
I think everybody probably remembers or has seen these ghost signs on the sides of buildings, you know, and those were painted by guys in the 20s, commercial artists, and they also did murals, you know, for the WPA during the New Deal. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they called them wall dogs because they hung on the side of walls, and they were painting on 30-story, you know, or 3-story, 5-story buildings sometimes, you know. And it's just amazing to think of those guys and what they had to go through to create this great art. I mean, it's just astounding, really, how beautiful some of that stuff is, you know.
And so many of us are still nostalgic about all of that. You know, you go by an old building, there's like this faded-out Coca-Cola sign on the wall, and you go, man, I hope somebody saves that. You know,
just because before we got here, my wife and I went the next town over. I can't remember right now what it's called, but there's a really nice little coffee shop there. And in that back alley, there's a gorgeous old cola sign, a cola brand that I had never seen before, and it's just great to see that, you know, and that's somebody's life's work, you know, on a wall. And
well, we played in Boone last night.
Yeah,
and,
I was going to mention that.
They were telling us that the the post office there in Boone has a mural from the WPA in it, so it's most likely painted by a wall dog, you know. So
Of course.
it's very cool stuff.
Those guys, they're like, there's a group of people who do things like that. That I'm thankful I don't have that job, you know. And I think what kind of courageous, brave, and inspired person would do a job like that, or like the high-rise window washers, or like the guys that climb radio towers to replace light bulbs and things. I mean, you know, I'm like, they're crazy, but they make a hell of a lot more money than I do. But look at the risk they have to take. The guys that climb up and fix power lines, you know, the power line workers and stuff. I mean, they're just amazing.
There's a really cool book by Charles Fraser, a North Carolina writer, called The Trackers, and the main character is a wall dog, you know, and he gets out west and he has to make his own paints and he has to make his own scaffold and he has to figure out where he's going to paint that, and it's just an unbelievable thing. And while we were working on this record and this song, my wife and I have a little place in Johnson City, and a guy was painting this. I'm sure you've seen it. This new mural of the three-piece band, a guitar player, a banjo player, and a mandolin player.
Those are amazing too.
And it was awesome to see him just, you know, how he started and how he had to project it to scale and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just fascinated by that.
Well, you know, great album, and I know we're going to do 2 or 3 more songs off of that. You all did not only a concert, but you also did a songwriting workshop in Boone last night, right?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We had a good crowd, and at the Jones House over there. And yeah, you know, it's kind of hard to get us to talk about songwriting. We don't like to talk about it too much. No, it's not hard to twist our arm. That's one of the things we love, you know, and that's what these records that we've done together are about. It's just songs that we've been able to write. Mostly over the pandemic, we wrote a song a week at least, and that gave us a big backlog. And we have one record that came out, Lost Voices, and now we got this one.
Well,
dogs. So.
obviously you were blessed with a bunch of songs that came forth. And, you know, I talk about, you know, you guys work together and you like working together, obviously. You complement each other, obviously, as we just heard. But you have other folks playing your songs as well. I mean, you know, both of you have a big catalog of songs and probably a pretty long list of folks who recorded or at least played your songs live.
Been really, you know, successful or blessed, I guess is the way to put it, because we just... you know, you put stuff out there, you don't know whether people are going to like it, you know, and I guess writing songs here is a little different than in this space than it is commercially for commercial writers. Mm-hmm. But Tom's had success. He has 3 songs on the new Billy Strings album. Yeah. Which is great.
You're reading my mind, man. He's taking all my talking.
Sorry, man.
You got a legend like Tim Stafford. That's what you have to expect.
Right.
Man, I don't take any of it for granted, and I know that you don't either, Tim. And you got a lot of great cuts, and it's one of the most exciting things in the world to hear somebody else, especially people you admire greatly, to interpret your song and see what they hear in it, because you don't know, you know.
Now, Tom, you've been in this studio before with me several years ago, but I was trying to recall. You were born in Germany. How long have you been over here?
About 22 years, full time.
Yeah. Plenty of time to
almost a quarter century. It's a scary thing to think of. But.
And you're so young.
Well, I look very young, but luckily people can't see that on the radio.
If you do so, you say so yourself.